Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This video, we are going to cover the best zone abilities to activate on your X Factor players. Now, I'm not going to give you guys a ranking because I think given different lineups, different player types, all of that, there isn't really just this is better than that. I don't think that would be really effective. So what I'm going to do is just give you a general, my favorite ones that I think that you guys should look to activate and the ones that you should try and avoid. I'll also give you some of the best players that have some of these zone abilities if you are looking to try them out. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure that you subscribe to the channel for the most up-to-date NHL news, tips, and info. All right, let's get into the video. All right, first I want to give you guys my philosophy on zone abilities and X Factor abilities that you want to use. I tried throughout the year. I obviously have a very, very good team here on PlayStation 5, and I've tried to do the route where you give everyone a bunch of them or as many that you can, so you kind of spread them out. The problem with that, guys, is that it's not like the real NHL in the sense that everyone kind of gets somewhat even playing time. In NHL, a lot of your games, well more than 75% of it, is your top two lines, especially your defensemen. Your first pairing defenseman could actually be on for almost 75% of the game themselves if you are very good at controlling the puck in the offensive zone because they just don't really skate. If you're someone who goes end-to-end a lot, then you are going to have a pretty balanced defense. But for the most part, if you control time on attack and average like 10 minutes of TOA when you're playing, your first pairing defensemen are going to be out there so much longer than you realize. And at the end of your games, guys, just go and take a look at the ice time and you'll see you'll be pretty stunned. So my philosophy has changed now as we get into the later stages. I'm all about loading up the top two lines because it kind of makes them separate. So a lot of the cards at the top end of the game now, a lot of players have these, especially in the higher divisions. So you want to give your guys that are on the ice more a little bit of an advantage. So that is really my philosophy here. My third and fourth lines, I don't give any abilities to. There is some that I will talk about that I think are viable. And same with my defensemen outside of my top two, unless it's like something very, very viable, like maybe shutdown, for example. I really just don't see a need to. When it comes to goaltenders, guys, the only one that you really need to pay attention to is goal post to post. I mean, there are other ones that might be viable for you, but goal post to post is, I'm going to say this now, probably the most impactful zone ability in the entire game. Because what it will do is allow your goaltender to go post to post, obviously go post to post, but hug the post on those cross ice passes. And like I said, it impacts the game probably more than any other zone ability. And it's been absolutely wild. So it is 100%, in my opinion, the most important one. But outside of post to post, there are some other ones, but I just don't think that they're worth it because your offense are just going to be that much more impactful. All right, so quickly, I'm going to go through the ones that I use, and then I'll touch on the ones that I don't, that I do think have a lot of value. So we're going to take Victor Hedman, for example. Again, I mentioned your top pairing defensemen are probably one of your most important lines, so they are on the ice a lot, and Victor Hedman has a very unique superstar ability combo that actually makes D2D one-timers viable. So he has gold shutdown outside of goal post to post. Gold shutdown is probably, again, the most non-goaltender impactful ability in the game because it not only does it make it auto lock on to the puck at an almost extreme rate. If you put it on bigger defensemen, so anyone like the new Brent Burns, for example, it is automatic and the reach is so long that it just disrupts almost every play. And when you go up against these players, you know when you're crossing into the zone, if they have a decent position on you, you have to stay away. You have to just find other ways to go around. You have to either turn around and go back to reset, or you have to just kind of chip it by them. It's very difficult to get past, and it allows you to absolutely crush people at the blue line because, especially on the big, tall defenseman, shutdown is just so good. On Victor Hedman specifically, as well as Brent Burns, Seeing Eye and 1T appears to be the way to score D2D one-timers the most effective. In NHL 22, they just simply aren't. I'm not saying they don't go in because tips happen quite a bit in this game. Tips have definitely seen a buff from prior games. But I'm talking about clean D2D one-timers in the probably last 4 or 5 Hockey Ultimate Team games. D2Ds were one of the most powerful ways to score, especially at the end game when defensemen get 99 shooting. In NHL 22, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's everyone using goal post to post or if that helps it at all. I don't know if it's smaller goaltenders being more agile, or maybe because everyone's using lower aggression goaltenders, they sit further back in their net and they're able to knock it down. I have no idea what it is. But 1T and Seeing Eye combined does allow them to score far side, specifically with left-handed defensemen, but righties do work as well, and Victor Hedman has this combo. So on my Victor Hedman, I use Seeing Eye and 1T as well as Shutdown. Quick Pick is a very good ability, but it was more impactful early on in the game when defensemen and players did not have really high defensive awareness. For anyone that does not know, defensive awareness is the stat that helps dictate whether they can intercept passes effectively. Now that almost every player has 99 defensive awareness, I really don't think quick pick is really needed. However, it's so cheap, so I can definitely see why you would want to. And all it does is improve that ability. But at 99 defensive awareness, it's just really not going to give you that super big bump, so I don't think it's totally necessary. Moving on to a forward of mine, one of the best in the game, the Matt Duchene Evo. Wheels is an interesting one. So for anyone that doesn't know, Wheels allows you to not have the debuff when you're skating with the puck. When you skate with the puck, guys, you lose 3% speed. So everything's going to be at 99. We'll make it easy. He would lose 3 speed with the puck. All right. If you have gold wheels on, that debuff does not happen. So for anyone that does the self sauces, I've talked about this before, and I showed you on my TikTok. If you haven't followed my TikTok, go check it out. I show you a bunch of in-depth strategies and tips there, so make sure you follow that. Link is down below. But if you're using the self sauce, you really don't need to, because you don't need to get that slight little edge, because gold wheels just allows you to burn down the wing. That being said, I think on slower players, especially, it's not nearly as important. The cost is heavy. So what I would recommend is, if you've got a loaded team like mine with a lot of options for zone abilities, I think unless they have exceptional speed, so I'm talking Matt Duchene, Connor McDavid, for example, I really don't think it's worth it. Silver Wheels is a little bit different because it is much cheaper. And again, guys, for anyone that doesn't know, the difference between superstar abilities and zone abilities is about 50%. Okay, so for example, Wheels gives you the debuff of 3% completely removed. The superstar ability would be 1.5%. But other than the really fast guys that are at almost 99 speed, I just don't think it's really worth it. But Matt Duchene with wheels on is absolutely nuts. We'll take a look at my Connor McDavid Team of the Year. Elite Edges is probably one of my favorite offensive superstar abilities, and that really helps dictate the half spins and cuts left and right. In the offensive zone in the corner to create time and space in this game, Elite Edges gives you a very, very big advantage. I think you'll notice it a lot on players that maybe don't have the best agility, but you give them Elite Edges and you'll really start to notice it. Their ability to just kind of circle around and, again, make those cuts and changes in direction is a huge advantage, especially for players that have really high speed. So in my opinion, it is one of my favorites. I've mentioned in my prior videos about how to do those half spins and to keep the puck alive. Elite Edges really helps out with that. Again, silver wheels on Connor McDavid because his speed is so high. I think it's worth it. Just another very good one. I want to touch on some other ones here while we're on Connor McDavid. Ankle Breaker, advanced ability to deke opponents at top speed. I'm not a huge fan of this one for a couple of reasons. One, at the high-end speed, I think that it's more important to just either keep going straight or to make one single cut. What I'm talking about is, let's say you're skating down the wing with a left-handed player and you cut into the middle. You really just want to make one move with your stick, not an L1 deke or a stride deke or anything like that. I don't really think that's super necessary. Third eye is important in the grand scheme of things. This increases pass assist with the advanced ability to auto saucer pass out of a player's field of vision. So we'll touch on third eye real quick. I think any of the passing ones are very, very important because passing is so much more difficult in NHL 22. But third eye, for anyone that doesn't know what pass assist does, pass assist will increase the circle that is around your player. And that circle, the higher the pass assist, the bigger the circle, and that circle dictates how well they can receive the puck. So really low pass assist means that your pass has got to be right on their stick, and their circle around the player that is receiving the puck is very small. Whereas, so with third eye, for example, you'll increase the ability to accept a pass, essentially, with Connor McDavid. Auto saucering, I don't think is important because I think you should be manual saucing in a lot of these instances. So third eye, out of the other passing ones, I think is the least important one. Tape to tape is very important. So advanced power and accuracy on all passes within vision. Passes will also auto saucer when necessary. Very, very important because the cost is a little bit lower, especially the superstar version. And again, it makes passing almost like it was in the last 10 years of the game, where you might not have the correct aim or the best aim, and it'll figure out a way to do that. I'll touch real quick on Unstoppable Force. Specifically with Connor McDavid, Unstoppable Force should be one of the best abilities. However, I haven't really noticed it on any of my players that have it. So what it does is it allows you to not get bumped off the puck. So I talk about this a lot, especially with smaller players. They can't bump people, and I'm not talking about big hits. I'm talking about when you're up against a player and you're hitting up on the right stick to try and hit them off the puck, and you get that stumble animation. I don't notice having Unstoppable Force on actually negating that. So I don't know if it's just Connor McDavid, but I've tried some other ones and I just don't notice it very often. So that's why I don't have it activated here. On to Henrik Zetterberg, my favorite center so far in the game. And again, this is personal preference. I think Mario Lemieux is a little bit better center, even though I want him on wing. But again, my lineup, I can't really have him on the wing. Henrik Zetterberg has been one of the best cards. He has gold tape to tape, but I just don't think 6 points is a lot. Like I said, it's one of the most important, but I'd much rather have it as a superstar ability. And when considering I could have Elite Edges, the silver one, as well as Born Leader, guys, with my strategy of loading up your top lines, Born Leader is one of the most one of the most impactful abilities you can have, especially with the players you score with. So because I score quite a bit with this Henrik Zetterberg, only one ability point, I can basically, after I score, just immediately put them back out on the ice. If you get a couple goals with them, it's super, super important. And it also keeps your first pairing defenseman out there just an immense amount of time. No contest, not a fan. I think that it's one of the worst ones. This is an advanced stick tension and strength when going into puck pickups, resulting in more wins when battling for the puck. I don't think it's awful. I just don't think it's as necessary. And again, it's only one ability point, so you could activate it. And then third eye, we just talked about. Taking a look at Nathan McKinnon, who is my first line right-handed winger. Again, puck on a string, advanced toe drag, and stick handling speed. I actually do like this. I just wish the cost wasn't so much. So the stick handling speed is basically going left and right with your stick, with your right thumbstick. That allows you to, because going left and right is one of the best ways to keep your opponent from getting the puck knocked off of your own stick, and again, changing direction really fast. I think it is very good. I just think that there's some other better ones. Wheels, again, I've mentioned it on players that have the really high speed. Make It Snappy is an interesting one. Every time I've tried it, guys, I haven't seen it really, really work out for me. Now, Make It Snappy is supposed to be when you're taking snapshots, which is not a wrist shot. So, again, if you're holding the controller and the right thumbstick, if you have a right or a left-handed player, let's say, if you hold out the stick to 9 o'clock and then shoot, that's a wrist shot. With Make It Snappy, you have to just flick up, which is kind of awkward. I just haven't seen it scored on me, and I haven't really been able to score it either. I know it looks like it activates on wrist shots too. I just don't notice it. And then Shock and Awe. This is probably one of the most fun abilities because I think that it is definitely one of the most arcade-like abilities you can have in the game, because when you activate it and actually get it off, the shot is like a laser beam. It's just very, very situational, and I don't think worth the points because, again, it's just so situational, and you're probably better shot options for you. For goaltenders, we've talked about goal post to post. Again, I think light work is another very good one, but there are a few, the no timer one as well, but again, I think other than goal post to post, I really don't think you need to activate any. On to some other defenseman ones. So Thunderclap, exceptional power and accuracy when taking slap shots from the point. Again, I've had this on, and I don't notice one-timers going in. I don't know what it is this year. I used to take one-timers quite a bit. I think it's a great way to throw in some shots and just cause some havoc, especially when your opponent's not playing for it. Just don't notice it this year, so I'm not big on spending 8 points on it. Again, you don't want to have a lot of your points tied up in your offense from your defense. Truculence. So Shock and Awe, again, very arcade-like. Truculence is hilarious, guys. On any player that you have Truculence on, it makes every hit look like you're playing NHL hits from back in the day. I think it's very good. I have it on my Shea Weber. I just haven't reset my abilities here. I was testing out some other ones. Truculence and Bouncer as well. Advanced battles around the net. Increases stability, stick tension, and limb strength around the net. Opposing players will take longer to recover from battles. I think this is important on your first pairing defenseman, because if you notice and you watch back your gameplay, you'll notice when your guys will tie up opponents in front of the net, Bouncer will make it where they just hold on to them forever. So just another good one. Again, one team we talked about with Victor Hedman. I think you need Seeing Eye to really take advantage of it. And then Shutdown is just, again, the ability point cost for Shutdown is bananas. It needs to be buffed, but it's just so crazy. As we go down the list on my team, Send It. I really think this is one of the least important abilities in the game because, especially on defensemen, because you should just be firing the puck out of the zone with a snapshot. Again, I've showed you many videos on how to do it. The speed and once you know how to aim it, is just far better than any ability can give you. So I think this one's a total waste. Quick Pick, I mentioned with 99 defensive awareness, I don't think it's as necessary. Heat Seeker, advanced power when taking risks and snapshots from distance. This has got to be from the hash marks and back. Again, I don't think this one is as important as some of the other ones, because you can still score like a shorter far side wrister without it. It's one of the best abilities to, or best ways to shoot. I just don't think it's very important. Elite edges on a defenseman, guys. Don't want to spend elite edges on a defenseman because you shouldn't be dancing around at the point. Just very dangerous, easy way to give up breakaways. So elite edges on defensemen, just not very good in my opinion. Moving on to some other ones. Back at you, the ability to enable players to reverse hit opponents, maximize damage, and retain balance. So you have to hit X when someone is going to hit you. It's kind of tough to time and get down, but what it'll actually happen is when they go to hit you, they'll end up on the ground. It's very tough to actually activate, and it isn't always 100%. Just not worth the ability points, in my opinion. It is pretty cool, though. And then Big Rig, the exceptional strength and agility when driving to the net in Protect Puck. Stronger free hand to hold off the defender while cutting the net. Only use this, guys, if you know how to actually use the Protect Puck feature, and that's by holding X. If you don't do that a ton, I wouldn't activate Big Rig. I just don't think it's very important. It is a very good one if you are good at it, but if you're not, it's just not going to help you out at all. Adam Fox, the only one we haven't talked about here on this player, is in reverse. In reverse is an interesting one, so it allows you to not have a debuff at all when skating backwards, so you keep the speed and acceleration that you would skating forwards while skating backwards. On Adam Fox, I think it might actually be pretty good because he has such high speed, because you obviously always want to keep the play in front of you. On the slower guys, I'm not really sure if that's the case because you probably want to be playing the body. You don't want to get into kind of these end-to-end rushes. So I don't think it's as important on the bigger, slower players. But on the fast guys like Letang and Adam Fox, there is definitely some, definitely discretion to use it if he is in your top line. If he's not, again, I wouldn't invest points unless it's like shut down on anyone that isn't on your first pairing. Ovechkin, he's got Schneip. This one I've messed around with, as well as my co-host Kesso from my podcast, who is one of the best players in the world. Schneip, he just did not see an impact at all. It would activate, and you would just never notice the actual animation being done. So again, this one is not one that you want to activate. 1T, I've been kind of down on 1T because for the most part, when you set up a good one-timer, it's going in no matter what. It's just, that's the play you're trying to set up. However, if you've got, your top line, like your top winger that you always score with, and what I would recommend is go through your lineup and you will see what, left or righties have more goals than assists. Those are the players, and that's the side that you always tend to score from. Potentially your first line winger having 1T wouldn't be bad. I like the zone or superstar ability a lot more than the zone ability because 10 points is a lot. Off the rush is another one, not very popular in all honesty. Advanced accuracy when taking slap shots while skating. In NHL 21, there was a goal that you could basically fire short side right at the face-off dot with a slap shot. It ended up being one of I don't want to say, it was a glitch goal. Definitely one that you would want to try and put in your lineup. That doesn't really happen as much in this game. It's not bad, but I don't think you want to be taking low percentage shots by just ripping them off the wing. So not a huge fan on that one. All right, some of the ones I think that you should just stay away from. All Alone is one of the most useless ones because it is so situational that there's just no point in putting ability points into it. Exceptional power and accuracy on all penalty shots and breakaways. That's pretty self-explanatory, guys. Just not really one that is all that worth it. That's why Alexander Barkov's card isn't all that great outside of his skating as well. But just, yeah, that one's not really one that you want to spend any points on. Another interesting one is Beauty Backhand. Exceptional power and accuracy when shooting on the backhand. There is a wrap this year where you basically just hold the backhand and skate out in front and go far side, and it helps with that. However, I just think that's almost an automatic goal already that you really don't need it. I have seen some pretty crazy goals with Sidney Crosby's beauty backhand ability, but at 8 points, it's an awful lot, and you don't want to be taking a ton of shots on your backhand. Becoming a little bit more talked about lately is this combo. Big tipper, so the advanced speed, accuracy, and range when deflecting shots. I thought this would be more important than it would be. However, you just always tip shots no matter what really now. But we have seen a lot more of Total Eclipse, which just really wasn't in the game at all earlier. Total advanced skill at screening the goalie and obstructing their view. When screening with this player, the goalie's reaction time is reduced. This is a nice combo. I'm going to be trying this out later. I don't think it's going to be all that great, but if you have Total Eclipse, I would only use it on my centerman because when you're cycling the puck, your wingers just won't be in front of the net like that to actually screen the goaltender. So if you're going to put it on, make sure it's on a centerman. Close quarters is an interesting one. Exceptional power and accuracy when taking wrist snapshots in close proximity to the net. This is actually closer than you would think. It's basically from the hash marks in. I have seen people be quite effective with this. I wouldn't spend the 10 on the zone ability. There's not a lot of cards that actually have it as a zone ability, but as a superstar ability, I have seen it be pretty effective if you don't have a ton of like players. Like if you don't have a team like mine, I would probably, you have a little bit more freedom because any of the abilities you have, you can pretty much activate. Close quarters is definitely more impactful than people thought at the beginning of the year. Crease Crasher, the exceptional ability to corral bouncing pucks off of rebounds, greatly increases shot accuracy on rebounds. Again, very situational. You've got to have the player who has this actually collect a rebound. And a lot of these times that you're just not seeing a lot of rebounds unless you fire for the pads. And even then, they're very good at sending it off into the corner. So one of the more useless ones in my opinion. It's Tricky is he's exceptional at performing trick dekes while greatly increasing shot accuracy out of trick dekes. Again, I don't know if that's one that you want to bank on because doing a lot of dekes is not really the most effective way to score. It's super fun, don't get me wrong. But again, like the shot between the legs and stuff like that, it's such a low percentage shot to actually score. It's not like it's not fun though, but I think that 6 points are definitely better spent elsewhere. Yoink, the exceptional accuracy when stick lifting against momentum or at speed. Opposing players take much longer to recover from stick lifts. Wouldn't want to use this one. I'll explain why. Stick lifts in this game, almost an automatic penalty unless you're in perfect position. So I just wouldn't mess with it at all. I've tried it on Bergeron and just haven't really enjoyed it at all. I don't see it helping it. So I would just definitely avoid this one. One of the lesser common ones is Spinorama. Phenomenal puck control when performing a Spinorama. Exceptional shot and pass accuracy coming out of the spin. Not going to lie. As a superstar ability, the spin move is a great way in this one to actually open up and create time and space. I'm going to be trying this one out, but I wouldn't want to spend 6 points on the zone ability, but definitely on the superstar ability once I find a card that kind of fits that meta. Magnetic is another one that just does not seem to be impactful at all. Exceptional skill at picking up pucks at speed, corralling, bouncing, or rolling pucks and reeling in less than ideal passes. With everyone having high passer rating now, just not going to see a ton of usefulness out of this one. So definitely avoid on that. Then one that isn't talked enough about, but a very important one, Quick Draw. The exceptional quickness on face-off draws greatly increases effectiveness on tie-up wins and great at defensive zone draws. This is a phenomenal ability to have on at least one of your centermen when you need to win a defensive zone draw. So if you do a tie-up, it almost always wins, as well as giving you a huge advantage on basically any other face-off, unless you don't do the counter and you get cleanly beat. This is one of the best ones because if you do the same as well as doing a tie-up, Quick Draw will just give you the puck. So definitely one that you want to have at least on one center, especially for penalty kills. So one of my favorite ones that I'm trying to get on my team. All right, guys, so that was kind of a long-winded video. I went over all of the X factors, kind of explained them and the ones that I think that you should avoid and the ones that you should activate. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below and the ones that you have success with. I'd love to start a conversation about it. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Have a good one.